lineup as you. 50% African, 40-some% European. With his freckles, with his hair, all of that, he himself cannot walk amongst white people and be seen as white. Even and he's more ambiguous looking than you. He's more ambiguous looking than you. He gets his freckles from his Scottish and Irish side, and he still is a nigga. Nigga. This man beard grows blonde. His beard and his mustache grows blonde naturally. And the nigga still he still can't be amongst white folks. They will never accept him the same way they will never accept you. I'm gonna keep it real. They will never accept him the way they will never accept your ass. But the difference between you and him is that he understands that he is a nigga.
Her hair's
It's just
damaged.
wet with jail.
You have beautiful hair. Don't get me wrong.
No, it's damaged. Creole, don't lie to her. That
Hold on
shit's
one second.
damaged.
You know,
I'll
bro.
slap the shit out of you. You
Hold
know
on,
that?
and I'm 1 second, and I'm gonna hold on.
I do want to apologize, Cafe, for coming for your looks. Like, I'm petty, and I shouldn't have taken it there because I don't think you're a ugly woman. It's supremacy, but you can work on that. It's okay. But because I noticed that and I just catch the small parts of things that I'm very observant.
But
And I
she's
noticed that in your DNA test, you cut off the overall percentage of your African right
yes,
there,
she only showed the
and you only
non-African.
showed the European. Hold on, 1 second. 1 second. No, you. I said you cut off the top part where it shows your overall African percentage. You kind of took that off, and then your caption, and then your cap. Hold on, 1 second. I don't know if that was intentional or not. I'm just saying that that's what I peeped as an observant person. And then you put mixed French, Louisiana, Creole, Cajun DNA test results. Um,
Hello, hola, bonjour. Je suis Lexi, the Cafe au lait or the Cafe con leche Creole, and I'm so excited to be back with another video for you all. So I'm gonna keep it like totally up front, y'all. I took one for the team. I took one for the team because the amount of effery, I'm not sure if I can say the whole word, of effery I was exposed to in this live was absolutely sickening and creepy. So let's get into this. So I'm going to start off with the lady pulling up the most white looking or mixed looking relatives she feels she has in her family lineage or family tree in order to invalidate my experiences as someone who's mixed race. Okay. In her mind, she thinks it's normal to take people that she was in relationship with, people that are in her lineage, and show them as an example of mixed race people who do not embrace their full mixed race identity, assuming what she's saying is true, so that she can guilt and shame other multiracial mixed race people who are proud of their mixture into just the black box. Because the core issue here is that I don't see myself as just a black woman, as just black, and that's all. I fully embrace all of what encompasses me, and I've been saying that till my face turns blue. But rather than just accepting, hey, maybe someone's racial identity is a little bit different than mine, to spend hours pulling up pictures of random people and then using words, you're black, you're black, you're black, they're N-word, you're black, they say they're black, so you're black, they call themselves an N-word, so you should be an N-word, we're all black in the N-word. To partake in that behavior, quite frankly, is just concerning. It's rather creepy, and I think it's strange, and it reinforces why those of us who are proud with our mixed race identities need our own spaces. Okay? And then proceeding forward, going through my profile, looking for any sign of blackness so they could use that blackness as a quote unquote humbling tactic. It's also very creepy, but it's also very counterproductive. And a lot of mixed race people deal with this too. And what always baffles me about this is when people who are pro black use black features to humble somebody. Someone said that you have a big ass African nose, right? And a lot of y'all know I'm very proud of my nose. I love my nose. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I talk about how I got called Rudolph as a joke in my household because it was brown, round, and it turns red when I'm cold. I love my purty nose. Not too big, not too small. It's beautiful and round. However, I did find it very interesting how they zone in on what they can identify as my most black features so they can try and humble me regarding my appearance and humble me into blackness. Now, my thing is this: if you have to humble somebody into blackness, you are basically saying that you view blackness as below. You view blackness as less than, okay? Because if being black is so amazing in their eyes, then they should not be trying to humble people as if they have to force them into a label that is just so big and bad. Additionally, to take black features and refer to them as a big black African nose and call yourself pro black is very contradictory. Because if you love your blackness, you will love those features. And quite frankly, those words implied a very negative connotation. So while I praise the ethnic aspects of my features, I take no offense to what was said because I love my nose and I've been saying that for a very long time. I do find it very compelling and very strange how, in the name of pro blackness and gaslighting mixed race people, someone would make such degrading comments about these black features. Because if you are pro black, wouldn't you want to uplift those features? And could you imagine on this panel if I were to say that someone had a big black African nose? See, these people tried making it seem like I'm colorist, even though I never brought up color. Of course, the typical usual, they bring up the color. These people try and make it seem like, oh, I'm just anti black. I hate all black people. Whoop de wop, whoop de wop. But could you imagine if I said that anyone on that panel had a big black African nose, especially one of the darker skinned or very dark skinned people on that panel? Imagine how all hell would have broken loose if I would have told any one of those people, especially the dark ones, that they had a big black African nose. Could you imagine? They would probably be trying to show up to my house with pitchforks. But they feel as though it is normal and appropriate to say it themselves because they're allegedly pro black. And see, what I saw was a whole bunch of projection, a whole bunch of low self esteem, and a whole bunch of insecurity wrapped up in mixed race intolerance. And this is why I make a very clear distinction regarding the type of people that I want to connect with. Because anyone who's willing to speak on their own people group and their own features in such a low term to try and force a stranger into a box that they don't fully belong into is very insecure and, quite frankly, rather dangerous to be around. Again, this is why people who identify with their mixed race heritage need their own spaces, because this type of behavior is deranged. This type of gaslighting is strange. These type of contradictions are plentiful. And there's no checks and balances in place. People who are pro-black like to speak as though they are the authority, they are the determining factor. Everything they say is the truth, but they will say very anti-black things or say very disgusting things about black features in the name of trying to humble someone who is lighter or who is mixed race. Please make that make sense. Would you feel safe around those type of people? Because quite frankly, I don't have the mental bandwidth, I don't have the patience to deal with those type of people. And as they showed in their video, at least one of them is capable of violence just because of how insecure they feel, just because of how much they've internalized their insecurity regarding their blackness and their black features. And rather than working through these issues themselves, they try and project those same insecurities onto those of us who are confident with our multiracial heritage. Okay, guys, I know I said I was done. I know I said I was done. But one point I made that no one could properly answer, okay, is since we all are black, nothing but black, the whole world sees us as black 100% of the time. I asked them, cool. So how often do you get called mulatto, and how often do you have to explain that you're not biracial, right? And it's not because I go around calling myself mulatto or biracial. As a matter of fact, sometimes people use mulatto or biracial as an insult or slight towards me. But when I asked them how many times they experienced that, no one could provide me with an answer and defaulted to saying, well, one of the darkest people on the panel, they're actually ambiguous. And sometimes people ask them if they're part Asian because of their eyes. None of them could relate to people calling them mulatto. None of them could relate to people calling them biracial. None of them could relate to, being called a mutt and a mixed breed, except for one person, and that was one of the light-skinned pro-black people. Okay? But the main ones going hard about my appearance, who actually showed themselves, because, most people hide when they partake in that debauchery, they could not relate to the experience of having to explain why you don't identify as, for example, biracial. And if any of my pro mulatto people are here, I'm not going around calling myself mulatto. I know there's a lot of back and forth as to who does and does not qualify for the term, and my genealogy has dashes of stuff like indigenous. So I just say Creole, I'm Creole identified, Louisiana Creole, that's it. But let's be real. Okay, how many non-mixed, fully black, as they call it, people have to repeatedly explain themselves online and in person that they are not biracial? And what's interesting is I've had people, slide into my DMs calling me mulatta, even though I haven't given any indication of calling myself that. I've had people call me biracial, mulatto, mulatta in real life, even though I haven't, said anything regarding that. Okay. And I bring this up because if I have the same exact experience as them, like they try to spend hours convincing me of such, then how come most of them, with the exception of one who's clearly mixed and admits that he's mixed, how come none of them experience that same thing too? That's what I'm curious to know. Now, we all know the answer, but I found that to be very cheeky. Very, very cheeky. So anyways, I'm going to leave that there. Bye for now. And I really mean it this time.